Hi everyone, my name is Michael Cavazos and I am a theater maker and visual artist in Portland, Oregon. I want to thank Centro for this amazing opportunity to be part of their inaugural year of their artist residency program. It's been such a wonderful opportunity to have time to create a new work of art that I'm excited to share. I'm originally from San Antonio, Texas. I grew up on the south side with my single mother and 3 siblings. From a very young age, I knew I was different, gay, and so at 17 I came out to my family. And I knew even at that age that I needed to explore the greater world, leave San Antonio and sort of see what was out there for me and try to find a place that I felt that I fit in. Being gay and growing up in a sort of machismo environment, this was, the 80s in San Antonio, 80s and 90s. And so it was difficult. It was a different time. I had no one really to look up to. So I felt very, very alone. And so I went to school in Boston, Massachusetts. I went to a little communication school called Emerson College. It was there that I started acting or studying acting and writing. And so, by the time I graduated, I had written my first play that was produced by the college called Gritos y Chismecitos. So I knew I was onto something when I started writing because I realized that there weren't enough stories being told about my experience or my mom's experience or my friends' experiences. So I knew that I needed to keep writing so I could see myself. It was hard for me to get cast as a queer, effeminate Latino man. There weren't very many roles that were written for someone like me. So again, writing became very important. Eventually, I wrote 2 shows with a good friend of mine called Chic and Sassy, and Chic and Sassy, the higher the hair, the closer to God. So I set my sights on eventually moving to New York City. So I moved, and that show got into the New York Fringe Festival. So I ended up getting a job at the New School, which is where I eventually got my master's degree in media studies, because I was really interested in documentary work. I've always been interested in issues of race, clearly, because again, representation wasn't always there as a Latino person. And I was always interested in issues of gender and sexuality because, again, I didn't feel like I fell into sort of the mainstream idea of who I was supposed to be. While that was happening, I was also involved with a performance troupe called Gender Offenders, and we were an all-drag performance troupe, and we performed all over New York City, and we created sort of sketch comedy shows. I would probably call them devised work now, because what we would do is take sort of a theme we were interested in, whether it was love or marriage equality or gender norms or whatever it might be, and then we would create sketches and musical numbers and all sorts of things. So that was a lot of fun. Eventually that trio sort of disbanded, and my good friend Sassy Parker and I decided to pursue music. So we became these hip-hop drag queens and it was so much fun, and we created a lot of music and performed again all over New York City at clubs and different venues. Eventually, I fell in love and moved with my now husband to Portland because he was offered a job here. So now in Portland, I've been creating work. I've been creating video work. work. I've been creating theater with many different companies. Now I am working on a new play that is inspired by the life and death of Selena. It isn't about Selena, but rather sort of the cultural impact that she had on my generation and generations that have followed. And as I started doing research, I started uncovering a lot of things, and I also started getting a lot of sort of memory, flashbacks to that time of my life. So in 1995, when Selena died, I was a freshman in college. That year, 94, 95, that school year, there was a lot happening in the world and in the news. And I stumbled upon this Howard Stern episode.
Howard Stern ridiculed the memory of Selena, the Tex-American singer who was murdered. Mexican Americans were not amused. He blasted her songs. He said, Alvin and the Chipmunks have more soul. Spanish people have the worst taste in music. They have no depth. And they used the sound of guns firing in the background.
So I started thinking about the cultural impact of that. What was happening in the world, and how were these representations influencing me as a person at that time. And so I'm sort of exploring that world, and my interest in sort of documentary is being used, and also sort of my theater background and sort of storytelling is also being utilized for the creation of this play. So I'm super excited. There's lots to explore. There's a lot of work still to be done. Thanks again to Centro for this amazing opportunity. I'm so thrilled, and I look forward to seeing you at opening night, whenever that might be.